If you are looking for the best SSD for PS5, then we have you covered right here. Now, ideally you'd want your PS5 SSD to be compatible with the console, offer high read and write speeds, and have sufficient storage. As gaming is a demanding task, most SSDs for consoles come with a heatsink, which helps keep the temperature and performance optimal. Most SSDs for PS5 are easy to install, so all you have to do is insert the drive and get started. Looking at the options available on the market, you will mostly come across internal SSDs for the console, as they deliver better speeds. So, without further ado, let's begin. Number 5. Patriot Viper VP 4301 TB. The Patriot Viper VP 4300 is another great budget option in the PS5 SSD arena that could just get you top-drawer speeds for less. This is supremely underrated and is often found cheaper than most rival drives. For that reason, its name has to be mentioned in the best budget conversation. Design and features. The Viper's claimed speeds are up to 7400 MB/s read and up to 6800 MB per s write, which are supremely fast. That puts it in the same league as the Samsung 990 Pro, which will set you back a lot more money usually. It also comes with 2 heat sinks, one thin graphene layer and one full-size aluminum one, which, for what it's worth, looks pretty cool. This means you have options at your disposal if you want a more slimline option, or if you need to use it in a PC at some point. It only comes in 1 TB and 2 TB models, and even though these are usually the sizes we recommend anyway, it means you have fewer options if you want a smaller 500 GB drive. Performance. We haven't been hands-on with this drive yet, so our recommendation is a bit more tentative. From other reviews, and the user reviews, it seems as though this is an excellent option to go for. If not, there's a solid 5-year warranty. If we get to test this drive, we'll be sure to update you with our thoughts. If those quoted read and write speeds are anything to go by though, you're getting a lot of performance for budget price here. Number 4. Crucial P5 Plus, the best budget SSD for PS5. Built on Crucial's Micron Advanced 3D NAND tech, the P5 Plus offers, according to Crucial, speeds of up to 6600 MB/s, which means it easily clears Sony's target speed. It isn't the fastest on this list, but it has recently seen an integrated heatsink model release, which means it's even easier to recommend as a PS5 option. The great news is, whether you go for that newer heatsink model or not, it's usually super affordable. Design and features. What you see is what you get with the Crucial P5 Plus. You won't find any flashy design choices or edgy heatsinks. This is a plain drive in the looks department, and I think that suits why this SSD is so worth considering. Crucial, unlike other storage brands, produces its drives in-house, meaning they don't import controllers or chips in to integrate into their SSDs. They make it all themselves. That means you'll get Micron's triple-level flash memory chips, otherwise known as TLC memory, as well as 1 GB of DDR4 cache memory, and supports both hardware-based AES 256-bit encryption and high-speed SLC cache mode. This is the drive to go for if you don't care about speeds, and you just want a cheap way of expanding your console's storage. That isn't to say you won't get decent speeds. In our testing, this drive reached 6800 MB per s read speeds and writes of 5000 MB per s, so you're still on par and slightly over the PS5's internal SSD. If it's something affordable that'll give you extra space for games, Crucial's P5 Plus is a brilliant little budget buy. Number 3. Seagate FireCuda 530, 1 TB with heatsink. Technically, this was the first SSD confirmed for PS5. The Seagate FireCuda 530 is undoubtedly one of the best PS5 SSDs and one of the most popular. Touted to have blistering speeds and confirmed to be a solid performer with or without a heatsink, this is truly a staple of the SSD market. Design and features. The FireCuda 530 has a recognizable black body with some lovely orange branding highlights. Its heatsink is a fairly understated black with one simple orange strike through it. A classy and less bold design than a lot of the fancy heatsinks you'll find on SSDs these days. In a more technical world, the 530 comes in sizes of 500 GB, 1 TB, 2 TB, and 4 TB, and you can choose whether or not you want the heatsink attached. On the box, you're quoted to get speeds of up to 7300 MB per s read and 6900 MB per s write. Let's talk about performance. In our formal review tests, we found that the Seagate FireCuda 532 TB matched its on-the-box speeds, which is very impressive. Having used this drive for my gaming PC build, I can personally attest to how consistent it is at loading up games quickly. This is extraordinarily affordable for just how good it is. If you can get this for under $70, which is more than likely, you should do it. Number 2. Corsair MP600 Pro LPX 2TB. The Corsair MP600 Pro LPX is one of the better designed PS5 SSDs with a built-in heatsink that we've come across, and it's got the performance speeds to match. While our review unit didn't hit the projected 7,100 MB per S max sequential read speeds, instead of clocking in at a still respectable 5,581.505 MB per S, you're still getting a more than competent drive for everyday use on your PS5. Design and features. Of all the best PS5 SSDs out there, we'd recommend this one if you're at all worried about temperatures and overheating. Sure, most PS5 SSDs have integrated heat sinks these days, but the sturdy build quality of this one gives us a lot of confidence in recommending it as something that will stay cool. You can get it in 500 GB, 1 TB, 2 TB, and 4 TB capacities as well, meaning there's a wide range of sizes to choose from. Quoted speeds go up to 7,100 MB per S read and 6,800 MB per S write, so you're getting an excellent performer for the money too. Performance. The file transfer times of the Corsair MP600 Pro LPX were impressive to say the least, especially as far as the bigger titles were concerned. Red Dead Redemption 2, with its massive 116.3 GB, was written to the NVMe drive in only 1 minute 13 seconds. You can expect games in the sub 100 GB range to take well under a minute, as we found with Demon's Souls, 53.65 GB, which took 46.11 seconds, and Ghost of Tsushima, 59.13 GB, which leaped in 46.67 seconds. If you've got an extensive back catalog of smaller titles that you want to make room for on your PS5, then this particular drive excels when more modest file sizes are involved. The price of the Corsair MP600 Pro LPX is respectable for a 2 TB model these days, and since it has a truly fantastic heatsink on board, it's well worth considering. Number 1. Samsung 990 Pro, the best SSD for PS5 overall. The Samsung 990 Pro is the latest Gen 4 M2 SSD from the brand and offers some top contender performance for PS5 and PC. Unlike most SSDs at the moment, its price is holding pretty firm, since it's never exactly gone for cheap prices. It's also readily available, perhaps since Samsung makes a lot of its parts. Design and features. The 990 Pro is available with or without a heatsink, now in up to a 4 TB capacity. Its heatsink is incredibly stylish and has some lovely red flashes that line its face. In an instant, you can recognize this drive's gaming chops just from its appearance. On the box, you're told this drive can reach unearthly speeds for a Gen 4 drive, 7,456,900 MB per S. It has a new controller that hasn't been seen in other models, which is codenamed Pascal. Beyond that, we don't know all that much about the innards of this SSD, but its numbers do speak for themselves. This is the Gen 4 SSD maxed out. The 2 TB model of this drive we tested for review nailed Samsung's quoted figures, scoring 7,462 MB per S reads and 6,877 MB per S writes. From extensively using the 4 TB version of this drive in my PS5, I've found much the same, and it's the fastest SSD Sony's benchmark has ever recognized. In short, this is the pound-for-pound fastest Gen 4 drive on the market, and if you don't mind paying a bit more for it, it's an easy recommendation from us.